How's it going, YouTube? We're back at it again with another, event recap. So this is obviously, as you can see on the screen, Ascent Melbourne that just happened over the past weekend. I was going to do this yesterday and get it up for you guys, but yesterday was a little busy. Had to do some taxes, and that took longer than I wanted it to. So, but hey, let's jump right in. So Ascent Melbourne happened. Is the last event for technically Alter, I guess, or Alchemical Revolutions Alter, but mainly A and B. So this is just after the bans to Baby Gray and Icebound Slam, and so a lot of people thought water wouldn't necessarily be as great, or I should say self-mill water, but as you can see, the top three decks, and this is going into, this is at the end of day two, so if we go to day two here, day two deck list. At the end of day two, these are the top 8 deck lists right here. So going into it, the top 3 lists, so Seed 1, Seed 2, and Seed 3, were all Water, Mill, Nico, the exact same list. All 3 of these guys are on a team, actually, and so they all have a very similar, I'm sure they're all almost exactly the same, if not just very, very similar, but maybe like a 1 or 2 card count different, but I'm pretty sure they're all the same. It is essentially Sylvie, Nico, level 1 Sylvie going into Nico, and nothing crazy about the material deck. The actual main deck is a little different because we don't have Icebound Slams anymore, and so the only thing that I can see that's a huge difference is that they just run a little bit more counter cards. So that means you're going a little bit slower, and you're just going for that beatdown plan, which Sylvie Nico did anyway. So you go Frostborn Paladins hitting for 3. You got Ripplebacks hitting for a lot when you pop a Seaside Ringleaders from your graveyard, and buff up all your animals, your Tidestorm Bone Glides, like I said, Rippleback Terrapin, and then eventually you just go for some extra cheeky damage with Ravaging Finale if you have an extra float or whatever it might be. Again, nothing crazy about these lists. Mage Bane Lash gets huge, and so you're swinging for a lot if you add in an additional Ravaging Finale, 10, 12 damage pretty easily. And then you might mill them out just from doing that as well. So that's honestly all they were doing. Nothing crazy. It's things we've seen before. It's just now they don't have that huge spike high roll potential where you just get Icebound Slam and they mill a bunch of float and then they just level up and then fill up board really quickly and just kill you. So that's what those Nikos are. In 4th place, I know this is Water Mill Kongming. It's not necessarily Water Mill Kongming. It does have a mill card, but I think it's only 1 card in here. But this is more like Water Kongming with I guess I would call it empowerment or empowered water Kongming, or fractal. Maybe a better way is also fractal Kongming. So this is kind of just an aggressive list. So you can see we're playing a lot of draw cards. We have the Baubles, we have the GCR, they have the Fan of 7 Debts, which draws you if you use a float and then you can draw. And then, of course, Backup Charger, even Scepter of Lumina. This is pretty much in here just for a draw because you're only going to level 1, so you don't really care about that. It's just mainly for the draw. And then we have a couple protective cards, Safeguard, Tariff, and Viridian. Viridian making your kill turns a little bit more easy against water. And then Shard of Empowerment to use it to basically just go for a kill or a little push extra damage or whatever it might be. So the main deck. I have Ardent Cloud Striker. This basically is swinging for 6 when your facing currents or when your shifting currents are facing west. So I believe with this deck, you're just facing it west and just leaving it there the entire time. I don't believe there's anything else we're doing, because Coriolis Ward here, I kind of pulled up for you guys, which is prevent the next 1+ level damage that would be dealt to your champion, or sorry, to target unit this turn, not just champion, so you can protect your Ardent Cloud Strikers if you need to, and then if your shifting cards face west, which they should be, you draw a card into memory. So this card replaces itself, protects something, protects yourself, and since we are doing some empower stuff, and we can actually get our level up more than just level 1. So this is a really solid. Another card here that we can't see here is Hydroguard Retainer. Brought that up for you guys because this is whenever you're facing shifting cards change from north to west, you draw a card. So there could be some turns where you actually could flicker your shifting currents if you don't have an Ardent Cloud Striker, if you don't have a Coriolis Ward, where this could actually allow us to draw some cards. It's also nice if you go, go into Kongming, and then you play this right after you go into level 1. and then we shift our currents, then this card essentially replaces itself. So you can get a couple of these on board. They are just, taunters to protect your board, maybe protect your Ardent Cloud Striker. That's honestly all it is there for. And then later on, if they haven't killed them off, Bubble Mage can help us deal a little more damage with them. But mainly it is there just to replace itself, get a body on board, and get a little chip damage in. So playing pretty much every Fractal that would be decent. So Fractal Mana is amazing in this deck, obviously, because we're going to do some Empower stuff. So we want stuff that empowers. So mainly the biggest reason why we're empowering is because of Nascent Blast. We could empower for Coriolis Ward as well to give it, pump our the protection on this. But mainly it's for Nascent Blast. That way you can tap this and then play Nascent Blast, and then return this to memory. So you basically got a 3 damage draw card into memory, but the draw card into memory is specifically this card. So it's a decent, it's really, really good value. You're basically getting really good value. We're playing Fractal of Insight, Fractal of Rain. Fractal of Rain, I think, is just here. So if you happen to get a little bit of float, you might be able to mill them as well. I think paying attention to when to mill them is also really appropriate and important, because they might top deck and leave something on top. And people often forget that Fractal of Rain can actually mill your opponent. It's a target. Target player puts the top card into their graveyard, not just not just yourself. So if they put something important on top, you can mill it and gain that value. Fractal of Snow, I'm pretty sure this is just here for reservable, but you could pop it if absolutely necessary. If it seems like they're going to somehow get a bunch of guys on board, or if the thing coming in on board, the ally coming on board is a big threat, then you can pop up Fractal of Snow and kind of protect yourself for a little bit. Fractal of Insight, you get to glimpse too if you choose to rest it when it enters. It could be helpful with Fractal of Rain. As you see, the top couple cards might be something you want to pitch in there. But honestly, it's just a fractal. All these are just fractals for Burst Asunder. So Burst Asunder allows us to destroy all our fractals in a later game and just ping our opponent for a lot of damage. Probably before we do that, we're going to use the Refracting Missiles. Refracting Missiles normally just is kind of a maybe ping something or kill something off, but really just put a float in the drop. But with this, because of how many fractals there are, this thing is actually going to be hitting for 5, 6, 7 damage, and that's a lot. It's a lot of damage. So that's mainly what those are for. Of course, Frostborn Paladin because it's good. Cerulean Decree, also very good. Snow Fairies, if they have some pesky things that are attacking constantly, something if it's against the Nico, Sylvie Nico's self-mill or mill, I guess, beatdown, Snow Fairy is really nice with those because they don't really have a great way to deal with stealth. They can Refracting Missile, but there's not much past that. So Snow Fairy being able to tap down their big turtles, maybe of course just in general an Interceptor or Taunter like a Frostborn Paladin, Snow Fairy is really good with that. So that is the deck. A couple interesting cards on the sideboard, just kind of a bunch of just utility for stuff that they're worried about. So I won't talk about that too much. Of course, the one of Bubble Mage, so that way you're pinging extra damage when you go for a lethal turn there. So let's go back one more time here, and we're going to look at the top 8 here. So we just did the Water Kongming. Talk about the Water Nikos. There was a Water Alexander. I won't talk about this list too long because it's just kind of beat down. We've seen this list similar to this before at events. Just swinging, getting some prep counters, going for a slice and dice. Halo Klein Scout allowing us to rest a unit and then allow our allies to swing for more into it. Nothing crazy here. In caps to help prevent, and stop stuff like stratagems. Or any big spell cards, mainly I think about this because something that's really detrimental to this deck is when a Merlin gets a deer on the board, and so stopping Incarnate Majesty is really, really good. But I won't talk too long about this. Like I said, you do have dungeon guides in here, a 2 of. I think that's just purely if you recognize the line where you can go Scepter into a put something on board, like something with a Gildas, and then you can Dungeon Guide into a Xander to deal 4 damage. So you got 4 plus another 4 plus 1, that's 5, plus the dagger that you can pull out from Xander level 1 because of the prep counter. So you're dealing 10 damage in a turn. There's just lines where this could come up, so I understand why it's there. But nothing too crazy. I love the squirrels. Squirrels are really cool, especially with Halo Klein Scout. Pushing 2 damage just really cheaply, so that's cool. Next, there was a water, I believe, Tristan allies. Same scenario. Just rinse and repeat, but just slightly different flavor. Still no slice and dice stuff. No squirrels. That's okay. Still got the Halocline Scouts. Got the Lunettes, which is actually pretty big deal, honestly. If people aren't playing around this or don't have a way to out this, it's doing you some favors. In this list, it is using the actual dungeon guide and going to level 3, and utilizing scepter damage to push a bunch of damage. When you get to level 3, you can bring out Shadow's Claw, you can bring out Mercenary's Blade, you can bring out whatever. Eventually Poison Dagger at some point. But nice thing about any of these assassin lists is that because you have Poison Dagger, you have multiple lines to go. You can go for the Scepter and level up and get some damage there. You can go for the Swarm board and then use Poison Dagger or use Halocline Scouts or whatever. There's just a lot of avenues you can go that allows for big damage turns really quickly. So, and then last 2 decks. I believe there's 2 more decks. There's a Wind Allies Arasana. By allies, it just means a Guan Yu is in this deck. And we're going to level 3. Doing the generic Wind Ari stuff, pumping a bunch of Cosmic Bolts into our deck, countering a bunch, but using Guan Yu to basically save some health and kill off some allies on board when they, because it has ambush, so they can swing into your face, but then this can retort back, ambush and retort back, and hit those allies for 4, usually killing off Frostborn Paladins or what have you. And then Lunar Seer, I think it's just in here for the glimpse that we can get from it. This is 2-drop 1/3, but you could also Star Call it for 1, and then put on board, and they can glimpse again, and then it's a repeated glimpse effect. It's just a 2-of, so nothing crazy there. But yeah, just very streamlined build. Nothing insane to talk about with this. And then the last one, I believe, was a Watermill Tristan, or not Tristan, a Watermill Vanitas. So Vanitas, is insanely powerful. This deck plays both like a self-mill deck and a kind of like an water allies deck, which is really, really cool. It's starting at Spirit, going to level 3 because we can utilize Scepter damage. And then we get to level 3, we're getting a free 3 damage every single turn. We're doing stuff, but we're doing the self-mill stuff where we're putting some allies on board that have float. And so if they kill them off, we just get some float. It's actually playing Tidesome Bovine. I didn't know they were playing that. That's pretty cool. And because now Icebound Slam is gone, they don't really care about putting some extra win cards in their deck. So, this is just putting some things on board. I do actually really like this one Burst of Sunder, because if you get to the later game and they happen to Nullifying Lantern and you can't destroy it, you can actually pop these Polar Depths and Fractals of Rain to get some extra damage out of them with Burst of Sunder. That's a really cool thing there. I'd actually probably try to boost that to 2 if you could in some way or fashion. But it's water Vanitas self-mill, but you have the ability to go for a beatdown plan and really burst your opponent really quickly without them knowing, because you can go to level 1, and then Scepter, go level 1, go to level 2, and then now that you've possibly hit them for 8, on your turn you can play some ally, maybe a Frostborn Paladin, swing for another 3, maybe, I don't know, just play, because level 2 here just says whenever you activate a spell card, and so you can actually activate some refracting missiles, hit your opponent for a little chunk, and then level up into level 3, get the 4 damage from Scepter, and then this +1 damage is kept from that spell that we just cast, that refracting missiles, and then this is swinging for 3 or 4 with that 1 extra damage from here. So you're getting a bunch of damage really, really quickly and really aggressively. So Water Vanitas is very, very good. I understand why it'd be in the top 8. I'm actually surprised we didn't see more of it in the event. Actually, I'm a little curious. Let's go back to the Ascent Melbourne. So that was top 8. Let me look at the champion breakdown real quick here. I want to see how many level 3 Vanitases there were. There was 15. So 15 level 3 Vanitases. Only 3 of them made day 2, and 1 of them made top 8. So how many level, because maybe there's a couple level 1s that didn't make it. Where are we here? Kongming, Vanitas, here we go. So 15. So all 15 lists with Vanitas went to level 3. So it didn't see an insane conversion rate, but which I'm a little surprised by, because I thought it would be higher than that. Let's see, went from 12% up to, or down to, or up to, okay, 16%. So it had a better conversion rate technically, not that much. That's not enough data to go by, but yeah, that is the last AMB slash Alchemical Row ALC Alter event before HVN drops. So HVN drops literally this week. So excited to see all the cards. If you want to see more of the cards and you want to look at spoilers, Sylvie.gg, this alpha Sylvie.gg here, is the new Sylvie.gg website. And you can actually look at spoilers from the new set. Almost all of them are up right now. There's a couple of them that are missing, and a couple, I think there's maybe like 4 missing. But that's pretty much all of them, so you can get a really solid idea of what's coming out in the next set if you want to. But in any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.